March 2nd, 2006, a courtroom in Somerset County, New Jersey. Charles Edmund Cullen, the man sitting before the judge, has just been sentenced to 11 consecutive life terms, no possibility of parole for nearly 400 years. A killer hiding in plain sight, a man who referred to himself as an angel of mercy, but newspapers would label him something far more sinister, the angel of death. Cullen was not your average criminal. He didn't murder in back alleys with weapons or in a fit of rage. He killed in hospitals where people go to heal. For 16 years, this critical care nurse preyed on the most vulnerable by injecting the digoxin into the saline bags that slowly and relentlessly dripped the medication into the victim's body. Too much dose of digoxin can markedly enhance the signals telling the heart to speed up. So the heart rate becomes faster and faster, it becomes more uncoordinated, leading to erratic contractions and ultimately stoppage. One of Cullen's earliest confirmed victims was Helen Dean, an elderly woman recovering from surgery who was expected to be discharged from Warren Hospital when nurse Charles Cullen secretly injected her with a lethal dose of digoxin. Her son Larry became suspicious after Helen's sudden death, believing Cullen was responsible. Despite reporting the incident to authorities, Cullen denied it and passed a polygraph test. The investigation ruled her death natural. Larry spent years trying to prove Cullen's guilt, but it wasn't until after Larry's death that Cullen finally confessed to murdering Helen Dean, among many others.
What agent did you use to accomplish that intent?
Digoxin.
Okay. You had access to that patient at Somerset Medical?
Yes.
And you injected that patient?
Yes.
Without authorization?
Yes.
With the intent to cause death?
Yes.
And in fact, that patient died?
Yes.
And the agent employed by you was?
Digoxin.
Suspicion grew around Cullen's involvement in other deaths, but each time he was questioned, hospitals were reluctant to take legal action. They feared lawsuits and negative publicity. Cullen simply resigned, moving on to the next hospital where the pattern continued. It wasn't until September 2002, despite a history of being fired or forced to resign from 6 other hospitals due to suspicions of harming patients. Somerset's Human Resources Department was unaware of Cullen's troubling past or that he had been involved in numerous patient deaths. Shortly after joining, Cullen targeted Reverend Florian Gall, a patient admitted with a bacterial infection and heart issues. Gall was prescribed digoxin, a heart medication, and initially showed signs of improvement. However, on June 28, 2003, Gall's condition worsened suddenly, and his heart stopped despite resuscitation efforts. He was pronounced dead at 10:10 a.m. Blood work taken at the time of Gall's death showed that his digoxin levels were exceptionally high, and his lab reports told a disturbing story. On June 20th, Gall's digoxin levels were 1.2, on the 22nd, 1.08, and 1.33 on the 23rd. Blood drawn at dawn on the 28th showed Gall's digoxin level had leapt to 9.61. Anything over 2.5 is considered toxic, indicating a fatal overdose. Dr. Stephen Marcus, director of New Jersey's Poison Control Center, was contacted by Somerset's pharmacy and immediately suspected foul play, advising hospital administrators to call the police. However, Somerset Hospital delayed reporting the case for 3 months, citing concerns about institutional chaos. When detectives eventually investigated, they requested Pyxis machine records, which track medication withdrawals from the hospital. Somerset initially claimed the records were only stored for 30 days, but detectives discovered this was false, and the records remained accessible. These records revealed suspicious digoxin withdrawals by Cullen, making him the primary suspect. Somerset Hospital then fired Cullen to distance themselves from the situation. Detectives sought help from one of Cullen's colleagues, a nurse who worked closely with him during night shifts. Her cooperation provided crucial evidence, leading to Cullen's arrest on December 12, 2003. This marked the beginning of uncovering Cullen's long history of patient murders across multiple hospitals. In 2006, Cullen sat in that courtroom, stone-faced, refusing to speak, as families recounted the pain he had caused. His silence was only broken by his confession, one that left a legacy of devastation. In 2013, journalist Charles Cullen brought this horrifying case to light in his critically acclaimed book, The Good Nurse. In 2022, the true crime story was adapted into a Netflix film, The Good Nurse, starring Jessica Chastain and Eddie Redmayne. The Cullen law include mandatory reporting of suspicious behavior. Hospitals and healthcare facilities are required to report any suspicious behavior, including patient harm or misconduct by healthcare workers, to state medical boards and law enforcement agencies. The law makes it mandatory for institutions to share information across hospitals when healthcare workers are terminated for reasons related to patient safety. The law mandates stricter background checks for healthcare workers, including more rigorous tracking of their employment history. It prevents hospitals from allowing quiet resignations. Without reporting suspicions of misconduct, which previously enabled Cullen to move from one facility to another undetected. To encourage healthcare workers to come forward with concerns about colleagues, the law includes provisions that protect whistleblowers from retaliation by employers, ensuring that nurses, doctors, and other medical staff can report potentially harmful behavior without fear of losing their jobs. The law calls for the creation of a national database for healthcare workers that tracks their employment history and reasons for termination or disciplinary action.